If you're new to a business analyst role, you're bound to make mistakes. In this video, we'll explore the top 10 frequently made mistakes by business analysts and how to avoid it. But before we dive in, hit the notification bell and subscribe to our channel to see many more videos like this. Hi, I'm Saj Rabinal. I'm the founder of Business Analysis Hub, the fastest growing community of business analysts here in India. And in this video, I'll tell you exactly what are the frequently made mistakes by business analysts and how you can avoid it. Mistake number 1, need assessment not done. Beginner business analysts do not understand the significance of a business need assessment exercise. This exercise nails down the business goals and objectives of your customer and makes you understand deeply what exactly his problem area is and what are the challenges. Beginner BS fails to understand this and they directly jump into requirements. So if you are new to this particular profession, ensure that you do a need assessment exercise with your customer so that you are very clear about what exactly your customer's business goals and objectives are. Mistake number 2, stakeholder analysis not done. Just like a need assessment exercise, it is very crucial for a business analyst to do an in-depth stakeholder analysis. Stakeholder analysis helps you identify who are the right stakeholders who should be involved in requirements gathering, approval of the requirements, prioritization of requirements, UAT, as well as approval of change requests. Involving the wrong stakeholders in each of these meetings will lead to undesirable results. If you do not identify stakeholders at an early stage in your project, you will have surprises during UAT when new set of business users will start testing the application and they will start giving you a new set of requirements. Mistake number 3, asking the wrong questions in a requirement gathering session. Beginner BAs often struggle with requirements gathering. They do not know what are the relevant questions to be asked in the requirement gathering sessions. As a result, the requirement gathering session does not give them the vital information that they're looking for. This leads to incorrect information being sent to the technical team who will then take it to implementation. So if you are a beginner BA, your first step should be to upskill yourself to understand what is the right process for gathering requirements from customers and what are those right questions that you should be asking your customer. In our Business Analysis Hub, we teach students to use templates during a requirement gathering session, which makes requirement gathering relatively simpler for you as a BA as well as for your customer. So using a template and deploying the right technique for requirement gathering is very crucial to get the right requirements from your stakeholder. Mistake number 4, incorrect or inadequate analysis of requirements. Many business analysts do not know how to analyze requirements. They do not know how to visualize specific scenarios revolving around the application, revolving around the flow of the application, and they fail to document those scenarios. They fail to discuss those scenarios with the customer. So inadequate analysis of the requirements proves to be very fatal to your projects because you then discover these scenarios later when your technical team might have already developed those features in the application. So requirements discovered at a later stage in a particular project prove to be very expensive to the project guys. So it's very essential for us to develop that visual thinking skills, wear our thinking hats and sit down and analyze the requirements just after you have gathered it from the customer. Think about all the different scenarios that revolve around those screens, those features, and document it in order to nail it down. Mistake number 5, incorrect or inadequate documentation. Some business analysts, although they understand the requirements from the customer clearly, they do a good job in requirements gathering, they fail at documentation. Why? Most of the requirements are on their heads, are they inside their heads? They have not documented it. So many business analysts have found want to write requirements in a shortcut way. There is no shortcut to success, guys. We are deployed in a project so that we can convert business requirements to very detailed format of functional requirements. So you can't afford to have shortcuts over there. So if you miss out on scenarios and keep those scenarios in your head, your technical team will not implement those scenarios, which again proves to be very fatal to the project. So it's very crucial for you as a business analyst to understand what are the different components of a functional requirement. When is a functional requirement considered as complete what is that checklist that you can refer to when you are writing a functional requirements. That's the reason I personally recommend my students to use a checklist, so that after you write every requirement, you can just use that checklist to strike out all the elements that you have included, and you can very clearly figure out what you have not included. So the requirements documentation then becomes very complete. Mistake number 6. No visual representation of requirements. Some business analysts write their requirements in textual format and they fail to convert those requirements into visual models. It is good to write your requirements in a textual format. It's a acceptable form, but you will see in some of the projects where you have written very complex scenarios, very long scenarios, it is difficult for your technical team to comprehend these scenarios in a textual format. Drawing graphical representation or visual representations of the same scenario in the form of a process model or a flow chart can give your technical team better idea of what you are looking for in the application. So drawing those screen mockups, prototypes, process models, use case models are so vital. It is so important, equally important as your textual requirements, so that your technical team can map those visual models to the functional requirements and deliver exactly what your customer is looking for. Mistake number 7. BAs do not maintain traceability of requirements. Traceability of requirements refers to the ability of requirements to be interlinked with each other, establish relationships, and for you as a BA to trace it back to the source. So if you're working in a fairly large project and you might be having 200 to 400 requirements that you have captured so far in the project, a single change in a particular requirement, you should be able to trace it back to the source. So maintaining traceability helps you handle change in a better way, because when a functional requirement changes, you know where exactly in the business requirement the change has to be made, which test cases are impacted, which use cases are impacted. So the traceability metrics gives you complete details of where exactly the change will impact. This is a very efficient way of tracking changes happening to the requirements as well as maintaining traceability. Mistake number 8. Inefficient change management. Now, most beginner BAs have the habit of saying yes to all the changes that the customer asks you to make. Well, although it is good to keep your customer happy, it is also very vital for a business analyst to see what are the different components that are getting impacted by the change and whether actually this change is going to add any value to the customer. Many customers do not do an impact analysis, do not understand the significance of a particular change. They do not think about whether this change is adding any value to their business processes. They simply bring about a change because they have seen it somewhere in a different application. They liked it. It is a cool thing. They just feel that it's a cool thing to implement in their application as well. But that's not how we as business analysts gauge the value of a change. So when a customer asks you for a change, try to do an analysis to understand what is the value that change is bringing about, what's the benefit that the customer is getting out of that change, and then proceed to do an in-depth impact analysis to figure out what are the components in the application that will be impacted by the change. Mistake number 9, incorrect estimates. Well, as a functional BA, although you'll not be expected to estimate for each and every feature that's developed in the application, there has been several instances when BAs have submitted a wrong estimate to the customer simply to keep the customer happy. So in your meeting with your customer, if the customer says that he would like a particular feature to be rolled out in the next sprint or it rolled out in the next 3 weeks, simply tell him that I'll speak to my technical team and get back to you with the right estimates. That's the right approach. So do not give incorrect estimates upfront without consulting your technical team. Mistake number 10. BAs do not invest time in building rapport with the customer. Although this is the last mistake, guys, but it is not insignificant. Beginner BAs do not understand the importance of building a good rapport with your customer. Having a good rapport with your customer helps you gain his trust, confidence, and helps build positive working relationships with him. So if tomorrow there is a production issue or any kind of an escalation, you will see your customer is much more understanding and they are ready to hear you out. This is so vital because whenever there's a fire in the project, you as a business analyst are the firefighter, and you should have the skills and tools that are required to douse the fire. And this is one of that tool, a good rapport. I hope this video has given you good insights about the frequently made mistakes by business analysts and how to avoid it. I will see you in my next video. That's all for now. Thank you.